Hey everyone, Phobos here. So coming at you with a kind of like a failed build guide. This one is one that didn't work out, but what we were trying to do is totems in last Epoch, and let me tell you something. As a, I would say, professional totem player in Path of Exile, totems in this game are just not up to par. Now, there's not a lot of options for totems. If we go into our skill tree here, the Shaman is the one that gets Summon Lightning Totem, or Storm Totem. Unfortunately, this totem is actually, so this totem is pretty good, but you only get one of them. So that means that your primary totem is Summon Thorn Totem. Now, there's another totem, I believe, which, to be completely fair, I haven't tried yet. It's in Beastmaster, and it's Frenzy Totem. But I think it actually only gives, like, it just says buff under the minion ability tags, right? So I don't think it actually does damage. And buffing is nice, but, you know, we need to do a little bit of damage. So this build, the idea was, initially I seen that the totems didn't look they looked kind of lackluster before I even started. So I was like, I didn't do them as a starter build, I did a sorceress. And everybody had told me they were bad, kind of. And they seemed pretty bad. And I was like, you know what though? If we go into the tree on Thorn Totem, there's this side which is all poison. And I was told poison was actually really good in this game. Because every like stack of poison or something increases the damage taken by 10% from the poison or something like that. So I was like, oh, well, I can get like 5 totems in total, because you can summon 2 and then 3 from this. All of them have poison, 100% chance to poison, right? This node makes them take more damage from hits per poison on the enemy. So that'd be good for like single target. And I wasn't really sure what else I was going to do. I knew I probably needed duration. I knew I probably wasn't going to take this because this is just bad. And yeah. So I've changed this build around like hundreds of times. Well, not like probably like 20 times, okay? And a lot of it is balancing between Totemic Wisdom and Forested Expanse, because the problem is like, if you can't consistently have 5 totems up, then this is worthless to take, right? In terms of putting all 3 points in. You should only put 2. And if you only put 2 in here, you need less in here, because this increases the mana cost and this lowers the mana cost. So it's kind of like a balancing act between those two, I feel like. And right now, I kind of just decided that at first I was thinking I could get by with 4 totems. And I'd have a lower mana cost. In some cases, I could completely spec out of this, and I'd have more points for other places on the tree. Now, the problem with that is that, in reality, the build just does, like, ZDPS, right? So you need every totem you can get. And especially if you're trying to stack the poison. And it just makes it a nightmare because the totems cost so much when they're that high. And yeah, it's pretty rough. And we've tried to solve this a lot of ways. Like, I don't think I gave up easily. And I still may try one more thing, but I think this is pretty much it. So I'm making the video now, because I might dismantle the build. But you guys can learn from this. So I tried a bunch of different things. So roots right here, basically, you put it on the ground, and shit that's in the roots actually gets buffed in damage, like your allies, which are your totems. So I play with that. Now the problem with that is that, as you can see, it actually costs kind of a lot of mana and doesn't really last that long. It doesn't seem like a lot, but like when you're spamming out totems, that's avalanche right now. When you're spamming out totems, like, you don't start with charges, so I can't spam them. But the totems cost a lot. When you're, see, and you're starting to get low.
Impossible.
And then you're summoning your lightning totem.
Impossible.
And you're healing. It doesn't look like it here, but trust me, in the middle of combat, it gets crazy. In this game, there's not a lot of mana regen, but we did try and take advantage of what mana regen we had. So, if you go down to Shaman, take the mana regen here, 16%. Then we have a staff, which is I think you can get mana stuff on your neck, but I need this neck. It's like super important to the mitigation. So on the staff we have 29% mana regeneration. It can go up to 50 if you get the highest tier. It's hard to do that while also getting the requisite damage. As you can see, we're building totem damage and increased damage over time, or minion damage, sorry, and increased damage over time for minions, which scales our poison. Both minion and damage over time for minions scale our poison. Minion damage only scales the initial hit. And we have minion damage here. This is minion health, but I had a minion damage thing. We have minion damage over time here with minion damage. Even increased minion physical damage, which affects the thorn totems because they do physical. It just doesn't affect the poison, but it does affect the bleed, which we are putting on with this idol. Minion chance to bleed on hit. In this chest, minions have 40% chance to bleed on hit. Bleeds have 100% increased duration. So when it wasn't enough to do the poison, we were like, okay, we're going to add another dot up in this bitch, and we're going to scale them both with the minion damage over time. And now we're kind of like double dipping a bit, you know what I mean? And not to mention minion damage affects the bleed, the poison, and the initial hit damage, and the thunder totem damage, the storm totem. So you're thinking, how could this be bad, right? We've got so much scaling going on, and like I've got damage, as you can see here. We got like these are not bad rolls. Tier 5, tier 3, tier 5, tier 3. This doesn't have damage in this particular iteration. I have one that has damage. This tier 5 minion damage. This is adding our bleed. This is tier 5. Tier 5. Spell damage doesn't affect the totem. It's not like in PoE you need minion spell damage. So theoretically, if this was perfect, it would have like a minion spell damage or minion physical damage where that increased spell damage is. But I mean, that's so hard to get. It's like, oof. And these are our mitigation unique / set items. So we have like the gear is not terrible, you know what I mean? Like it's definitely not min-max, but it's not terrible. Then on top of that, we get the roots to try and do extra damage. And then we have the wolf. Now the wolf serves a dual purpose. We haven't really quite gotten there yet, but once you get 20 points in Druid, you can take Strength and Bond, which gives you 50% more armor and protections, which is just insane. So when you have the wolf out, so that's really good. But then on top of that, the wolf also howls when it kills things. So 30% chance to howl on kill. And howl, if we go into, I don't know, we might have to summon the wolf, and then, okay. Your wolves howl to embolden themselves, granting them frenzy and 50% increased damage for 3 seconds. So your totems are getting 50% increased damage and frenzy, which I believe is 20% attack and cast speed. Yep. So yeah, we tried to like do some scaling here. It's not like, oh, I'm just putting totems down and don't have anything. And then on top of that, we have Etera's Blessing, which it's damage. You increase something's damage by 100%. Okay, and we're spamming this on the storm totem, increasing its damage by 100% for 4 seconds. Okay, and yeah, I don't know. We can't make it work. I'm gonna do a map here, and you're gonna look at it and you're gonna be like, oh, that's not too bad. And if you want to try it, feel free. The thing I'll warn you about is, at first I was kind of misled because I was doing the arena, which is kind of like the litmus test or the benchmark to test a lot of these things. Kind of makes or breaks build, right? And in the arena, initially, when you're lower level, it doesn't scale as hard. So it's easier to do the arena, basically, at low level. in high level. And like around level probably 60 or in the 70s, I was doing like wave like 104, 100, I think I got to like 108, 114, something like that. Which is actually like pretty decent. Like it's not like super good or anything, right? But it's like pretty decent. But now, once I hit around, I'm at level like 83 right now. Once I hit around wave 50, and I would show you that, but it would kind of take a little bit because the build is slow. Yeah, once you hit around wave 50, the build kind of just doesn't do damage. As you can see, it's like struggling to do damage here, right? I don't think this has damage mods. Yeah, it has armor shred on it. It's a tier 1 monolith. And like the interesting thing is like even enemies like this that are supposed to be, it's kind of like bread and butter, it struggles on. And keeping that in mind, I do want to talk about a couple of things because on this tree here. So, okay. Now, after, this is like the mandatory shit, right? Which I tried doing an on hit, by the way, with like the double damage, like actual hitting, and it was fucking dog shit. Like it was worse. It was terrible. So I was like, okay, I have to go back to the poison and bleed. So I did that, and there's two problems, right? There's killing rares, which are the high HP targets, and then reasonably killing the trash. Now, at low arena levels, your Storm Totem kind of nukes the trash, but as you scale higher in arena, you get more density. And what happens is the Storm Totem can't actually hit everything at once, so the Storm Totem's like attacking one thing at one side, and you're kind of getting overwhelmed from the other side. So you really inevitably need your Thorn Totems to do more than single target. You need them to kind of like help out on the trash clear. So like first I was spec'd into Ancient Power, which this actually increases the totem damage. I put like 1 point in here, and then I went to Impale for double the on-hit chance. Now we're not really scaling the on-hit as much, but the thought was that this increases the on-hit as well, and then you're doing double damage to it after or you're taking more damage from the poison stacks, right? And it's like not a lot of points. It's like 1, 2, 3. I think I had 3 invested, or 4, something like that, right? So I was thinking, like, you could do that, and you kind of can, and it does some, like, the single target improves when you do that, but the problem is the totems normally shoot out the spikes, like, almost, like, around them, which is kind of, like, really bad, when you're trying to use them to like area clear. Like if I put a totem here, as you can see now it's shooting in front of it. That's because I have this cone. Where is it? Yeah, I have this node, which makes it an 170-degree arc. If I didn't have that, it would kind of like shoot out, not quite 360, but probably like 270 or something like that, or probably even more, to be honest. It's pretty crazy. And the problem is that if you have enemies swarming you, not all these bolts are hitting. Like individual enemies, they can't actually hit the same enemy, but they're not even hitting like different enemies, right? Because some of them are just being shot behind. It's kind of decent if you're like being completely, like once you're already completely overwhelmed in the mid, they're probably hitting a lot of things, but by that point, things are kind of out of control, right? So by that point, it's already not good, I would say. You can see it just doesn't do a lot of damage. And this is with some investment to keep in mind. honestly, Lightning Totem is going to be doing most. Like, if you do this build and you think for a moment that it's good, it's because your Lightning Totem's carrying the shit out of you. The buffed Lightning Totem does a lot of damage, but it's only one totem, unfortunately. And like, I have this bitch buffed on the roots, right? Which gives it more damage, and it like still is not like destroying things, right? It's doing pretty good damage, but and the problem is it can only hit like in one area. Like, it can hit multiple things if they're close, but it can't like just hit everything around here, right? So yeah, that's basically the build. I think I showed you everything. I'll show you the passive tree. And the passive tree, we're totally gearing for this, by the way. Like, it's just... We got the totem life and stuff like that. We got protective circle, which gives us protections based on number of totems around us. We got attunement gives us damage. So we're trying to stack attunement, adaptive spell damage for totems, attunement, damage. Like, it's not like we're not getting any damage or anything like that, you know what I mean? And it's disgraceful. I don't know what to say. It's really bad. So, yeah, I would stay away from totems. And this character is probably going to be dismantled. And we're probably going to work on something else next. And, yeah, I think that's it. I may try and explore the Frenzy Totem. The Frenzy Totem looks very lackluster unless it does something insane inside of the tree itself that it hopefully has. Then I don't think there's much hope for this build. But anyway, I figured I'd share it because it was kind of fun trying to make. It sucks that the totem sucks so bad that you can barely get to like wave 70 in the arena. And I mean, like, I could do things to stay alive longer. Like, the tree is not complete yet. Like, I don't even have that node that gives me the 50% protections and stuff. So, like, I have no doubt I could probably get this to wave 100 and something, but it's just kind of like, what's the point, right? Because it's so just mediocre. I don't know, you know, it's like, it's so bad. There's really no point in me doing that, in my opinion. So, yeah. Anyways, thanks again. Hopefully I'll come back with something better for you next time, and keep enjoying the game. See you guys.